Imagine not being Leeds, not feeling this pain, not dancing through thunder, not walking through rain. Imagine not rising with fists in the air when the world turned its back and no one would care. We've lived in the ashes, we've drowned in defeat, but still we stand proud on our battered old feet. Imagine not loving with all that you are. Imagine not being Leeds.
We love you, Leeds, Leeds, Leeds.
We do love you, Leeds, Leeds, Leeds. Now then, folks, down at Elland Road for a bit of a mooch. How are you all doing? Happy Friday. Caught me off guard today. I'm into my laptop. Sometimes I like to buy foreign shirts and wear them in between, in and amongst my Leeds United gear, which I wear 95% of the time, to be honest. Do the wife's head in with how much Leeds tops I've got. But yeah, wearing Inter Milan jersey today. Old retro one with R9 on back. But yeah, thought I'd do a quick video today. I haven't really done no on transfers for a while, to be fair, since the Pajau deal fell through earlier in the week. Obviously, very disappointed as a fan base that the Pajau deal didn't work out and he moved on to Marseille. Sort of felt that were always likely or always possible that could happen. But Leeds, you know, they've moved on now. A lot of rumours out there that we're looking at other targets, which is brilliant. I do think El Khannouss from Leicester would be a great buy. I think he's got a £24.5 million pound release clause. If we can get him in for that, it's a great deal. He looks a real talent, in my opinion. What I saw at Leicester last season, especially that last 3 or 4 months of the season, he was their main guy. 21 years of age. He'd be a great pickup for us. He really would. He would be an AFCON player, so maybe Sunderland pick us to that one. You know what they're like with their AFCON players, playing for Morocco, I think it is. But yeah, he'd be right up there for me to go look at. I kind of think it's sort of thrown a little bit of a question in there, though, the fact that it looks like we have spoke to El Khannouss's camp, probably before we spoke to Leicester about it, just to sort of tout him, see if he'd be up for the move before we start going down on the right channels. For me, you look at it and go, it's predominantly a 10. He's played 95% of his games have been in the 10 position. So you look at that and you think, are we going to adopt a 4-3-3 as I've suggested, as a lot of fans have suggested? And I know it's different strokes for different folks and horses, courses and all that stuff. But what I will say is, Daniel Farke doesn't tweak much. What we've seen in Daniel Farke, he falls on a system and a group of players, a starting 11, and he doesn't deviate from that too often. So I was a little bit surprised to see him go heavily with a 4-3-3 so far in pre-season. We saw it a season ago, last pre-season, maybe season before that, where he dabbled with it, but we never saw it throughout the season, and that was fine. We didn't need to really dabble with too much tweaks and changes throughout the season. We're the best players. For me, we had the best manager in the Division 2 when it proved, and 100 points, got the trophy, sound. But going into Premier League season, it'd be great to be able to adapt game for game. There'll be certain games, maybe when you play maybe a Brentford, who are tipped to struggle this season, or Wolves, where you may play a 4-2-3-1 and go for it. Why not? You're at home as well, especially in those games, go for it. Away from home, especially against the top 6, top 8, top 10 side, you may want a bit more pragmatic. You might want to go 4-3-3, get another midfielder in there, try and win that battle in midfield. I totally get that. I would be surprised to see Daniel Farke, in my opinion, change game by game, just because we haven't seen it. The fact that I thought he'd changed from a 4-2-3-1 to a 4-3-3, that was a big ask for him to fully sort of change his philosophy on that, but I think it works. But then to suggest potentially he'll do, like I said, different strokes for different folks, different games, tweak it and change it per game. And with the midfield, I'd be very surprised if he tweaks from a Tanaka, Ampadu and maybe a Stack to then a Longstaff, a Gruev. I just don't see, once he sort of gets something, he tends to stick with it. I would love to see that adaptation from this season where he does change things up and we see different formation, potentially different players for different games. I would love that. Other teams do that, and let's hope that's what we see going forward. But with El Khannouss, predominantly a 10, he can play on the left too. I watched Joe's video yesterday with Locks, and he was obviously his Leicester fan, and he was touching on it quite heavily that he believes he can play off the left. And the best game he had last season for Leicester City predominantly came off the left hand side. He's got high ceiling. He reckons he can play anywhere in midfield. He can play as a high 8 too. So, I mean, we don't need another midfielder, don't get me wrong, but, you know, if he can play at left, if he can play at 10, he can play in that 8 role. You know, a lot of roles there he can sort of fill. And with him only being 21, and he's an exciting talent, he's someone I would love us to go for. And it gives us the option to fluctuate between playing a 4-2-3-1 and a 4-3-3. With him playing out wide left or playing in that 10 role when needed. Obviously, Aronson's really the only, I say 10, out and out 10. He isn't really an out and out 10, but he's a high 8 too. Play at 10, he can play off at left. You've got Imecha, who I think will play a really good role if he ever played in the 10 role as a support striker to a Pinner or whoever, or if we sign another striker there. So yeah, I'm quite excited by the El Khannouss signing, but I just think it throws a few questions to whether, you know, are we going to predominantly stick with that 4-3-3, which would mean it'd be a left player, or does that give a bit of scope to change it up to a 4-2-3-1 in certain games? But yeah, El Khannouss gets a big thumbs up from me. I would love that signing, but we shall see. Rodrigo Munez, again, won't go away. That's still there in the ether. It's been out there for, it feels like forever now. Haven't really, I don't think we've put official really. It's touted that we're interested. He's the only striker really since the Beto links early in the season that has felt like, yeah, we may get him later on in the window. Newcastle have sort of aired their interest. 40 million quid apparently. That's a massive chunk of change, that, and I know we've sort of got that sort of money. We're looking at the Pajau deal. If we think he's worth it, we'll pay it. We'll get somewhere close, but at the minute I think we're waiting on a lot of deals from other sides to see what they get done for the dominoes to fall in our favour. Like the Pajau deal, he chose Marseille, fair enough. But you look at the El Khannouss deal, Crystal Palace are waiting on potentially Arsenal coming in for Eze, or him moving to Arsenal. And then if Eze goes, El Khannouss is probably there, you know, for them to go by. They'll have the funds, they'll have the space in the squad for El Khannouss, and that is probably a more attractive offer for someone like El Khannouss now than Leeds United, which is a better pill to swallow really. Being, you know, following Leeds all my life and seeing where we were, you know, 20 years ago, but 20 years ago is 20 years ago, isn't it? So it's difficult to stomach Crystal Palace and teams like that having more chance of signing talent than us, but it is what it is. And obviously Newcastle with Isak, you know, if Isak leaves, which we think he will he, won't he? It's a lot of money, a lot of things can go wrong in deals, as we know. But if Isak moves on, is Munez Newcastle's top target potentially? And if they move Newcastle for Munez and can sort of guarantee him a starting shirt at Newcastle, then he's going to pick Newcastle. So again, dominoes waiting to fall. And what I'll say is on this, as much as I'd love El Khannouss and Munez, it shows a lot of ambition by the club. You know, we've brought in a lot of players, quantity. We've brought in a lot of players for me so far. 7 players through door, and for me there's quality in there. But there were a couple of players like the Mecha, Bornau, where we got in fairly quick. Probably because there wasn't competition there due to injuries, due to, you know, the fitness worries, due to them not being at that level, but still being a very good level for a newly promoted Premier League side. Decent squad options we've brought in, but now you can clearly see Leeds are going for that cut above now, that level above, and there's a lot of factors into why these deals are going to be tough. You know, Leeds United being the bookies' favourites to go back down, one of the favourites to go back down. Highly likely that to everybody else outside Leeds United, because I think we'll finish well clear of relegation, I'm tipping us to be 12th, 13th, 14th. But to anybody else who doesn't feel what we feel and see the club in the same light we do, I sort of understand why they would have doubts about that. So that isn't an attractive proposition for a new signing. El Khannouss has already been relegated with Leicester. Does he want back-to-back relegations on his CV? Does he want to do an AMPRO? Probably not. Is it the be-all and end-all? No, it's not. But it makes it makes certain deals difficult to make. Same with the Munez. You know, he's at Fulham currently, doing all right there. If he moves to Newcastle, Champions League football, can build a really decent career for him, and very quickly as well, playing in Europe and playing at a side who's going to be in Europe again, you'd imagine, and are pushing, you know, the top end of the Premier League consistently now, with the money and finances they've got to and the great fan base. That's a more attractive proposition to a non-Leeds fan like Munez to go play there instead of come down here at this beautiful fine stadium, Elland Road. But I am really, really happy that we are making waves in terms of the calibre of player we're going for now. You know, we've seen, like I say, is bring in a decent amount of bodies. for a decent transfer fee as well. I think we spent about 70 million on 7 players, just over 70 million. It's great deals we've done, and we've left those exciting ones to the back end of the window, let's say. And I do believe Leeds will maybe get 1 or 2 of these over the line, but maybe we'll have to sort of change the people we're looking at. You know, there's no guarantee Munez will come, there's no guarantee El Khannouss will come, but there is a guarantee that Leeds United are looking at spending 20-30 million pound plus on the top end of the pitch now, which is great news for us. Obviously time will tell if we get those deals done. I would like to just dial it back to Beto, as I mentioned earlier in the video. I do think this is one that I wouldn't be surprised, you know, if it got done. It's come out a little bit now, his name again, it's sort of not really gone away. There isn't many top strikers out there, really. I don't think, looking at who we've been linked with in the striker department, there may be a few out in Europe you guys know. I know there was that, is it Dubvic? There's been at Roma, I think. But Beto's not gone away. It's sort of always been there. I wouldn't mind Beto at Leeds. Again, you're dropping down to that bracket below the elite, which is when we're looking at Munez and people like that. They're not world class, but they've got the potential to go there. Then that next bracket above a Beto, I wouldn't mind Beto if he were to rock up at Elland Road. I wouldn't mind him at all. You're weakening a rival for me, and you are strengthening what we've already got with a Beto, another physical player, and I think he's a talented player. And with the right players around him and that creative spark, which I think our wingers will provide, and I think we've got a midfield capable of finding him as well, I'd be happy with Beto. Let me know your opinions. Obviously Munez is the club's first choice by the looks of things. He would be my first choice on that basis too. I would love El Khannouss. I think James Justin's been touted too from Leicester for backup for the full-back spots. Always been a big fan of James Justin. What I will say is with JJ, he's had a lot of injuries, really bad injuries as well, ACLs and things like that. So he's experienced in more than just football. He's experienced in a lot of things Sam Byram is, you know, overcoming injuries, overcoming adversity. He's played in Championship, he's played in Premier League, he's done well in Premier League, he's a decent player. He's a bit like Byram, like I say. He's right-footed, he can play left back, right back, and he's probably better at left back, similar to Sam Byram, which is strange when you're right-footed. But again, be great depth. Wouldn't be expected to come in and play and start every game. It's probably a backup at Leicester. So for me, that's a deal Leeds can get done. You can offer him Premier League football as a backup. There'll be suspensions, there will be injuries, he will get minutes at Leicester. I think if he stays there, but he'll get minutes at Leeds if he come. It looks like he's over his injury, what he's now. But James Justin again would be he'd be a smart signing. One I think we could get done. That would add decent Premier League quality depth. And then, like I say, the main positions then going forward are, you know, the left wing, the striker, and that 10. El Khannouss comes in and he sort of covers both of them areas, and then try to get that striker done. We'll have to see how the land lies, but it's going to be tough because Leeds are battling it with European sides now, as we saw, we're losing out with Pajau. We're battling it out with like your Newcastles and your Palaces, who are both in Europe, and it shows ambition. It's what we want to see, but these are deals that Leeds may struggle to get done. And we've just got to, you know, believe in the project, believe in who they've already brought in. They've added, you know, enough quality of depth there to add to that side that we came up with. That I believe whoever else we bring in to finish this side off, come the end of the window, will be good enough for survival and more. So yeah, keep it up, Leeds. Please stick a like on the video. Please subscribe. As recording this video, I'm about 13 subscribers away from 3,000, which is unbelievable. Got late night Leeds on tonight. So please come back for that at 10 o'clock. But yeah, don't mind the Inter Milan top. Please like, please subscribe, and take care, guys. Thank you.